cracking on? Today, I will be your guide to the proper usage and care of your Glashutte Original PanoMatic Counter XL. This is an automatic winding timepiece by means of its case-back winding mass. Nevertheless, should you find the watch stopped and wish to energize it, simply take the crown in its first position flush to the case and turn in a clockwise direction. 20 to 30 turns will be sufficient to start the movement, and you'll note, regardless of whether the chronograph is running, the constant seconds hand at what would conventionally be 10 o'clock on the dial will begin to advance. Now the watch is running, and you can set the date, you can set the time, you can use the chronograph, and the rotor will continue to wind the watch as your wrist moves around. But should you wish to wind the watch to its maximum rated power reserve of approximately 42 hours, simply continue turning in a clockwise direction. This watch uses a bridle-style mainspring that slips to relieve excess strain. So in other words, when it's fully wound, the bridle mainspring slips by design to relieve excess tension. You can't overwind the watch, so don't worry, just continue turning until you hear a click or tick from within the timepiece. That's your audible sign that the bridle has slipped, the watch is now fully wound. There are a number of subsidiary functions. Let's talk about setting the time. Now the timepiece does feature a constant seconds subdial, so it's going to advance whether the chronograph is running or not. It's generally best to wait until that seconds hand reaches the top of its travel, and hypothetically we'll say it's reached the top of its travel, and then you pull the crown out to a stop. This will stop the seconds hand. Now look up an online time that is accurate to your time zone. I always prefer government-maintained online atomic clocks. They're always precise. Now you want to set the correct hour. Let's say where I am it is 10:30. Well, I'm going to set, and by the way, you should always roll the watch through 12 o'clock so you know whether you're looking at AM, PM before you set the time. So let's say where I am it is 3:30. Well, I'm going to set the watch to 3:31, and assuming I have stopped my seconds hand when it's right at the top of its travel, I'm going to wait for that atomic clock to catch up to the exact hour, minute, and second that I've set on the watch dial, and I'm going to push that crown back in. That seconds hand is going to continue to advance. I waited for the reference to catch up to the time I'd set, and then I synchronized by starting my watch. Now, it's important to remember that your watch features a pusher adjuster on the case flank that is used to jump the double-digit date, the panorama datum. However, you should not use this quick set feature between the hours of 8 p.m. and 4 a.m., as this is the period during which your watch is automatically jumping the date. If you must change the date during this period, roll the watch out of the danger zone so it's past the 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. zone, and then change the time. It's also important to remember that the timepiece features a chronograph with two different operating modes. Let's set everything back now. You can see that the watch starts by pressing the trigger at what would conventionally be 4 o'clock. It's an inverted chronograph, so it works the opposite of most conventional chronographs. You start and stop with the trigger at the bottom, and you reset with the trigger at the top. Now you can start, stop, and reset conventionally, or, because this is a sports application, you can use the watch's flyback capability to restart and reset. It will not break the movement. A flyback chronograph can be reset and restarted with a single push of the reset trigger. You do not need to stop the watch first. The timepiece also features a counter function. The bottommost pusher is responsible for counting down. The middle pusher is responsible for counting up. And regardless of what tally you set, the pusher at the top can be used for a total reset to 0, 0. So in other words, up, down, and total reset. It's a counter system. It operates independently of the movement itself. Even though it's part of the movement, the watch does not even need to be running for you to use this counter system. Now there are 3 areas of hazard with respect to the handling of your watch that you should keep in mind: water, magnetism, and shock. This watch is water resistant to 50 meters, which is sufficient for exposure to water in the form of splashing or inadvertent rain showers. But keep in mind that leather, as featured on the strap, is a natural porous material that is never water resistant and therefore should never be exposed to moisture. Put your watch on a water resistant band, such as a full rubber strap, before exposing it to moisture. It's also important to remember that you can avoid accidental drowning. Don't depress any of the case side pushers. Don't even use the winding function of the crown while the watch is submerged or wet. Treat a wet watch like a submerged watch. Attempting to use any functions or any through-case fittings while the watch is wet can introduce water to the interior of the watch with devastating results. So you can avoid accidental drowning by keeping all functions disused while the watch is wet. Also, water resistance is not a static feature of your watch. Over time, as seals age and lubricants degrade, your watch will be relatively less water resistant. So, Glashutte Original recommends on an annual basis having your watch dry water tested at an authorized dealer. This will be free and quick. It's also a good time to have total condition of the watch evaluated in case a full service is necessary. Magnetism, though unseen and revertible, is somewhat more insidious than water because you can never spot it, and it's everywhere. It's in the closures of wallets, purses, refrigerator doors. Powerful static magnets exist in speakers, subwoofers, even the embedded speakers inside your personal devices and laptop keyboard. And powerful electromagnets such as personal devices, wiring harnesses, or wiring looms, and medical MRI equipment can magnetize the ferrous hairspring at the center of your watch's balance. That's its heartbeat. When magnetized, a watch will run erratically, either very quickly or very slowly. And if you suspect your watch has become magnetized, take it to an authorized dealer or service center of Glashutte Original, where specialized equipment is available to quickly and easily demagnetize your watch. Finally, keep concussive activities in mind when using your watch. Concussion can cause the watch to keep time poorly, or it can even do damage to the case, crystals, and movement. Therefore, Glashutte Original recommends that you disuse the watch during batting, tennis, golf, firearms marksmanship, the riding of ATVs or mountain bikes. Ultimately, every timepiece requires a comprehensive service. Per Glashutte Original, you want to do this every 3 to 5 years. It's good to have total condition, strap, case, water resistance, and chronometric precision tested during the annual water test. If necessary, service solely with authorized service centers of the factory or the factory itself. For a bonus experience, drop the watch off yourself at the manufacturer in Glashutte. The timepiece will be serviced by an authorized service center which solely has access to the trained personnel, specialized tools, and original factory replacement parts to protect the value of your watch as both instrument and as investment. Moreover, only these agencies have the trained personnel and the capabilities to back all labor and parts invested with a factory service warranty. Finally, visit our website at govbergwatches.com and call, text, or email our experts who will be happy to walk through every phase of the ownership and care of this or any Glashutte Original fine timepiece.